Hello guys, welcome to a Trading Parrot. In today's video we're gonna cover XRP, Ripple. I'll give you an update on the breakout from the flag, the initial targets that we are defining for the short term, together with long-term targets. I'll give you an update on liquidation levels, while at the same time highlighting where is the risk currently. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. If you want to get access to all my charts via Telegram, I will say that is the most convenient way to stay up to date, not just with my indicators applied to all coins, but also with all the annotations I do in real time in the charts. To get access to that, just find any of my posts on Telegram, hit TTP charts, and you're gonna find a menu like this that shows you all the different altcoins. As you click or tap with the finger on any of those altcoins, you're gonna be able to watch in real time the latest version of my charts. If you want to get unlimited access to those charts, have a look at the Patreon shop. The link is in the description, and you can get them via Telegram, or you can get the actual Pine scripts added into your TradingView account. So let's start with the price action. As you can see in here, the bull flag on XRP after putting higher lows has managed to break out. This is definitely putting XRP on the lead in terms of breakouts. If you look at Link, for example, is still forming the double bottom. ADA is forming the double bottom, getting closer into the neckline, but XRP got into the neckline and went straight away for the target. It is already achieving the highest close in history of $3. That is going to be the first challenge that we need to talk about. After all, there was heavy distribution anytime we went beyond $3. I distribute at 2.7, so this is already beyond my exit, and I'm not planning to re-enter. That's just personal preference. The neckline is located at $2.44 and hints towards a target of 3.3. That is a short-term target. Of course, if we look at this flag, the target is way beyond. The extension of 1 puts it at $4.7, $4.8. The golden pocket goes towards 6.7, 6.8. Now, there are some short-term targets that we need to keep in mind as well, specifically this one coming in from the RSI. Remember that we broke down in here, and now we are approaching this as a revenge rally. So if we meet with this with 71 or with 70, that is pretty much going to align with my $3.3, $3.4 initial resistance or initial target out of this double bottom that we are seeing. Remember that this line comes from this neckline towards the bottom of 160, plays at the neckline, and it gives us more or less 3.4, 3.5, which is in alignment with the target of the RSI being a revenge rally. Being beyond $3, we enter into price exploration. That's where extensions of Fibonacci play a critical role, or RSIs as well. We no longer can observe structure, fair value gaps, and all the other goodies, but we can look into liquidation levels. On XRP, on the top end, there is nothing when we look at CoinGlass heat map, but if we look at Legend on CoinGlass, there is one level that stands out at $3.2. That is definitely the largest liquidation at the moment, and it's from a short, and it's even larger than anything that you have below. Now, this is the model being used by CoinGlass. Of course, we can overlap that information with what we find in the algorithm of Trading Different, which in this case doesn't really show that much at 3.2. Let's zoom in this area, and you can see that we are currently liquidating $3. That was a significant level following all this bucket that we were speculating in the previous video. Remember that we said that we were going to break out of the head and shoulder, that we were not going to achieve the technical target of 1.5, that we were going to come back in here, fake out, and go potentially into this area of liquidity of 2.8. That is already done, and we went beyond into the second bucket of $3. Right after that, we had 3.4, but I don't see much going on at 3.2, apart from this small spike in here. Maybe they are counting for liquidations of higher leverage. I don't know. Now I can see something at 3.22 that stands out from the 25x's. So maybe that is the reason why Legend is showing such a big liquidation there. But if we start putting smaller leverage levels, then we can see that there is more or less $3 and 3.4 are definitely more important. On the RSI, you can see that we are having a global breakout, just like we did with ADA, but this one is way beyond what ADA has been able to achieve. We are already at RSI of 84. With the previous rally, we peaked the momentum at 94, so 10 points further that XRP did in this area in here. And I will say that this is the first time in history, if we take the highs of $3.4, that XRP has managed to do such an amazing rally and sustain it in a bull flag and then take the highs and continue. XRP has a long history of failures, moves up that get completely smashed with a huge rug pull from institutions. So if with this time we manage to get beyond 3.4, that is really surprising. XRP is looking healthy in here, even better than the other coins I did today, including Link and ADA. I encourage you to watch those videos to have a comparison, a relative one. We have taker dominant, we have big well orders on spot and on future this time. So definitely they are really hooked towards the promise of the XRP ETF incoming. Let's look at the news. We have XRP rallies 8% on rising institutional bid, ICE 3.4 after a triangle breakout. Interesting that they're seeing the same liquidations. I am reading the news just together with you. I never read them before. I don't want anything standing out in front of me and my own bias. Anytime I get a bias from outside, it ends up polluting my brain and I end up taking wrong decisions. Breakout above 284 resistance completed a month-long ascending triangle with well flows back in the move. Desks now target 3-4. Fresh leverage and high spot volume signal momentum that can extend the rally. And by the way, we didn't look at the rest of the indicators that are as important. Of course, this RSI rally into 71, we covered that. We cover as well that we have a lower low in here before that rally, which was definitely worrying, but we managed to get the breakout. In terms of longs and shorts, we are meeting with the first band of excessive longs. We've been higher than that at 68, but being at 60, that means that we are in an area of extreme risk. This might get into the next band and break out further beyond thanks to the ETF, or it could turn into a sell the news, get into 70 somewhere around here and then come back again into an area of value. If we were to go into an area of value, that will be more or less located around 50. This time we're getting a high bearish divergence on the 4-hour on Bitcoin as we speak. And probably if we look into the socials, we're going to see a big spike. I wonder if we can make an all-time high. Not yet. We are at 5% of social dominance with XRP. We still cannot take out the previous one, which was 6% more or less. Remember, this chart, you can access it from Telegram. Let's continue with the news. 7 out of 10. This is moderately bullish. XRP ETF incoming. Pro Ripple lawyer breaks silence ahead of July 18 rumors. This was just today in the morning. So that means that they just leaked some information that the SEC has no basis to block a spot XRP ETF, stocking expectations that Pro shares filings could clear next week. ETF speculation historically feeds rapid upside as traders front-run institutional inflows, but we can also see, thanks to CryptoQuant, that they are whales here. So it's not that they are front-running, maybe they are running together and allocating. Now, what happens when we get the news, whether that rug pulls or if it carries on into $6 and $7, impossible to tell. We got a 6 out of 10 in here. Crypto companies race to secure banking foothold in the US. Ripple among applicants. FT reports Ripple has applied for a national bank charter, which will give direct access to Fed rails and cement regulatory legitimacy. Clearing this hurdle will slash compliance risk and widen institutional comfort with holding XRP. Guys, if you haven't noticed, I'm not just covering this past month Bitcoin, but I'm also covering major altcoins. I started doing that in preparation for a potential move up. If you are just starting to watch the videos and you're thinking that the bullishness is to start building a position, definitely that's not the message. I've been looking into each individual double bottom to start finding where is the area of values. Now you should be already allocated, and your worry should be where to take out your hard-earned money. If you want to be part of this, of course, subscribe the channel. If you want to be involved and actually help the channel, that is where your like and your comment down below and sharing this content with your friends is definitely gonna help. After all, we don't have YouTube helping the channel. My videos are not being shown to people. So if you decide to help, I really appreciate that help. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.